coming to you live from a darkened cavern somewhere in the middle of Tennessee. Oh boy. Hey, it's been a while since I did one of these. Actually, no, it hasn't. Show Dogs was the last one, and I try to erase that from my memory every time I think about it. But tonight, I went out and watched The Incredibles 2. Finally watching the first trailer that I ever saw when I started this whole little dumb series of mine from way back in October, I believe. Yeah, whenever the My Little Pony movie came out, and I thought it'd be a good idea to do this. Yeah, so just got in from The Incredibles 2, and it is good. So there, review over, it's good. Not as good as the first, but still quite good. Now, it has been a long time since the first Incredibles movie. I had to look it up, 2004, and it wasn't a movie that I grew up with because 2004 I was in the middle of getting my bachelor's degree as a non-traditional student, so it doesn't have the same nostalgic vibe for me as much as the audience that was in there. This is probably one of the fullest I've ever seen the theater when I go to watch a movie, and this wasn't even the weekend it premiered either. This is the second weekend because of the review from last week. I didn't want to, mess up my rotation for you, because I care, sort of. And so I decided to wait a week anyway, because I knew it was going to be popular. Still popular. Most of the audience in there, like I said, this is probably the largest crowd I've ever had for one of these things. And there's very few children. It's most of the people in there that were watching that thing, they all had to be at least had their driver's license, I would assume. Nobody in there looked younger than that. I mean, like I said, I wasn't all that tied to the first movie because it just wasn't a thing of mine. And, just so I don't have the same nostalgic ties for it as everybody else does, but whatever. But as the story goes, it's solid. This is an action-packed movie. A little more action-packed than I thought I was getting into, which, yeah, that's a plus. I was not expecting a lot of the things that happen in this film in terms of that. I really wasn't people use guns. I wasn't expecting that. Not that that's a political statement or anything like that, but wasn't expecting a gun. It did a lot of things right. The animation is beautiful. The other thing about that, on the flip side of that, because it's been 14 years since the last movie, as soon as the thing starts up, they give you this, please, we apologize for taking this long to make this movie because, and you don't need to do it. It's one of those things that I kind of get. You don't have to send an apology if you're Pixar. Now, if anybody deserves an apology for, waiting forever and a day to get a movie out, it's the Gnome people. That Romeo and Juliet sequel, yeah, that should have received an apology. In fact, there should have been an apology right after that film saying, we're sorry you watched this piece of shit. Please, you know what, we'll give you like a quarter of your money back, so here's $2.50, have a good day. I'd have been content, but no, Pixar felt necessary to have the people who, the voice actors for this, apologize for the length of time in between. I wasn't expecting a sequel, but whatever. But like I say, the movie is solid. A lot of good action in it. The action is really well done. The plot's kind of a repeat. If you've ever seen the classic movie Mr. Mom with Keaton, if you've seen, my brain just farted on his name. 89 Batman, Michael Keaton. Thank you. It's sort of that deal with Mr. Mom. Apparently in this universe they're still adopting the Sokovia Accords, where people with superpowers or supers in this universe are illegal. I forgot that was still a thing because, like I said, it's been so long since I've seen this series and or this movie franchise, and so I totally forgot that was a thing, just like I totally forgot it was a thing that this was set in the mid-50s, maybe early 60s. That's the aesthetic that it's going for. So yeah, I had totally forgotten about that, but still solid work. The one big bugaboo that I had with the thing, and this is a continuity error on their part that I really wish they'd have addressed better. The baby of the group, Jack Jack, they discovered he had powers in the first movie. Near the end, actually. And, yeah, they, like, totally forgot about that. I don't understand when, in reality, that's something that they knew from the first movie. Okay, yeah, you want to play with it and do all sorts of crazy shit with it in this part, but yeah, that's fine. But, acknowledge the fact that the baby had powers, and if that was like a whole big bugaboo, like, oh wow, what did you know the baby had powers? The baby already had powers! It's... But that's like my only chief complaint about the whole thing. It's not bad in that sense. It's just a continuity error that I'd really like to say they just overlooked, but it's kind of hard when it was kind of the prevalent ending to the whole damn thing, and like the way the whole thing's set up, it's literally like days, not even a day, in fact like minutes after the first movie. So 14-year span, about 5 minutes of a difference between the beginning of this film and the ending of the last one. So there's that. It's got a lot of interesting things. The other big bugaboo that I might have had with the film is that the plot was a little, not contrived, but predictable. Like, I figured out who the villain was within the first 5 minutes of seeing the villain. And it's, so like, for this movie, the villain is a character named Screenslaver. And it's cute that the character, they take you over by, if you just watch a screen. So, like, if Screenslaver was to pop up, like, all of a sudden you're in trance. And that's cute. But literally within the first 10 minutes, I figured out who the villain was. And, I don't know. I was just sitting there waiting for Elastigirl, because that's the one they put out front, to solve it. And that was like the only drag about it. The one really good unexpected part of the film was there's a scene involving the baby Jack Jack fighting a raccoon, because because this is a movie that's set in the 50s or 60s, and they have, old school television. He sees a crime in progress on television where the bank robber looks, like the old school bank robbers for television with the mask and shit. And then he sees the raccoon and thinks it's a burglar, and then goes out and fights it. And that's actually a funny bit. I actually enjoyed that. The audience enjoyed that as well, but yeah, I thought it was pretty funny that like a 6-month-old is beating the shit out of a raccoon with all of its powers. One thing that was really interesting that I wasn't expecting, that was really pleasant, there were a couple of things that they licensed in. Number one, The Outer Limits. I did not expect to see The Outer Limits intro theme to be on this at all, because The Outer Limits, it's not quite the Twilight Zone, but it was still pretty damn good in its time. And the other thing that really blew my mind, they had clips from Johnny Quest. Johnny fucking Quest! Like, wow! No, I mean, you didn't see, I don't remember seeing Race Bannon in it, because Race was my man. But, yeah, if you don't know Johnny Quest, all you had to do was think about the Adventure Brothers, and that's basically the source of inspiration for the Adventure Brothers. It was Johnny Quest. Johnny Quest was the shit. And so the series, it had a lot of good surprises in it, solid stuff. What would I give it as a grade? I give it, for everything other than a plot I could see a mile away, I give it a B+. Like I said, good stuff, but just didn't have the same feels as the first one. Like, the first one was a little bit more emotional driven, whereas this one, not so much. I mean, yeah, you can see the struggles that Mr. Incredible Craig T. Nelson is having, with this new identity crisis that he's experiencing, because, I mean, it was bad enough when he was an insurance adjuster, and now he's got to be Mr. Mom, trying to figure out how to be a mother, and dealing with those whole things. The last key issue that I have with the movie itself, I recommend. I mean, if you watched the first one and you loved it, go watch this one. You'll like it too. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But it's not something I was already clamoring for. I'm just basically doing it because it's for the channel. Speaking of that, a couple things before I get into previews. Oh, no, wait, before I even get to that, oh man, I'm all over the place. One flaw that I actually have with the movie, Violet, for whatever reason, looks like she's, and I've always had that with the character design of this group. Violet looks like she hasn't had sleep in days, and she's malnourished. That and Elastigirl, oh, she got hit for days. But that's just a side point. But yeah, Violet looks like she just hasn't had sleep in weeks, and it's weird. Going on to previews and that, they're really hawking the hell out of this Christopher Robin movie. Now, I watched Show Dogs for this, and my basis is because it's a family film, and so is Christopher Robin. But by God, it's just so creepy. And I think I will watch it for the channel as a creep factor thing, but I don't know, I have to make that decision, because one of the things that I do know, oh hell, I don't care if I screw the movie magic, I'm not going to be in Tennessee for the entire month of July, and so probably not going to see, as much as I really want to, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, aka Fart Joke the trailer, but I don't see that happening. I was also hoping to watch or catch Won't You Be My Neighbor before I left, but it's not going to be here in time, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch that in theaters, which is kind of depressing, because I really want to see that. That's a Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood documentary that's really supposedly awesome that I want to see. And so I'm debating on what's going to happen with those, but I've already got July taken care of. That's all in the can. That's all scheduled. I'm working on August right now, believe it or not, because, well, I'm off for the summer finally, and I got to start getting my sewing done for BronyCon. Oh, that's another thing. If you're going to BronyCon, I'm gonna be there. Miller Made Mares. If you're there, you can come see me, say hi, say you're a fan. That's cool. I don't care. Maybe buy a horse from me, because that's kind of what keeps me going, aside from my teaching gig. And so, was there anything else? I talked about the trailers, talked about the movie itself, gave it a grade. No, I think I pretty much nailed it. Like I say, solid movie, B+. If you love the first one, you'll like this one, although it's not quite as good as the first one, because the first one dealt with some real identity issues. This one does too, but just not as, at least in my eyes, as well as the first one. But still solid nonetheless. It's really all I got, man. Oh yeah, the short. I almost forgot about the short, because I knew there was something I was forgetting. The short, I've always viewed this with Pixar shorts. The Pixar shorts are usually like a preview of what the next big movie's gonna be. This short was kind of weird, but it was a weird symbolic thing. With a dumpling, like a Chinese rice dumpling. It was, oh, wow, yeah. I mean, God, it was, oh. It was a little horrifying at first, with the dumpling turning into a baby and that, and it's like, weird. I guess since, you watch Coco and you cry your eyes out for that, we're not really going to do a whole lot of emotional shit with this movie, so we'll put a little bit in the short and that'll be it. And yeah, it works, and it does its gig. But yeah. Solid movie, recommend it. Maybe not see it in the theater, wait for a matinee, I don't know. Depends on how much you really want to see The Incredibles. But it's a good watch. That's really all I got. Bye!